All right, so midnight tonight is the deadline for federal workers to respond to Elon Musk's email that they send a list of 5 things they accomplished so they can just get a handle on what people are doing in all of these different federal jobs. Musk says that failure to reply to this email will be taken as a resignation. But some agencies, including the FBI and the Pentagon, have said to their staffers, and President Trump just alluded to this, that because of security concerns, they do not need to email what they were doing. If there is, information that they can't share, that can be done another way. But here's Elon Musk's email about this. To be clear, the bar is very low here. An email with some bullet points that makes any sense at all is acceptable. It should take less than 5 minutes to write. President Trump today calling it a pretty ingenious idea. Watch.
So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist.
First of all, you have to establish that you exist, wow, David, and all you have to do to establish that you are actually doing your job and you're showing up is just to say, oh, hi, Elon. I know you're doing the Department of Government Efficiency, so of course I understand why you want to do this. Here's, just an example of the 5 things I worked on last week. Doesn't seem like it's anything that should provoke outrage, David.
No, and it just shows how crazy the system has become. I mean, we are so divorced from what you're supposed to do when you're employed by anybody. And by the way, in the private sector, I'm sure 95% of employees in the private sector would love to tell their bosses exactly what they do. Of course, they would embellish it and everything, but people want to prove their worth in the private sector. In most bureaucracies, and it's not just our bureaucracy, this is the nature of bureaucracies all around the world. You read back to French literature in the 1700s, and you see the same kind of characteristics among bureaucrats. It's not so much what they do, it's how little they can get away with doing. That's kind of the definition of the way things work in the bureaucracy. And sometimes they don't do anything at all, which is what Elon has been finding out, and the other people that are investigating all this. So all that has to change. And it's not like we're talking about these people getting, really low salaries. They're getting the average federal workers paid $144,000 in salaries and benefits for what they do. Imagine going to the private sector and scoffing at telling a boss what you do while you're making $144,000 a year. I mean, that would just be completely unacceptable. It should be unacceptable in the United States.
So they have until midnight tonight. And also, all these Washington workers are supposed to be back on the job today. I was asking for, is there traffic increase or more people on the public transportation? And we really couldn't find much about people sort of rushing back to work. So no. I don't know if that's actually happening. Yes. But this is a quote from the American Federation of Government Employees. President Everett Kelly, he's not too happy about all this. It is cruel and disrespectful to hundreds of thousands of veterans who are wearing their second uniform in the civil service to be forced to justify their job duties to this out-of-touch, privileged, unelected billionaire who has never performed 1 single hour of honest public service in his life, David.
I mean, the bottom line is, what has that guy ever built in his life? I mean, the number of buildings simply been put up by the Trump organization is huge.
I think he's talking about Elon here. Maybe he's talking about both of them.
Well,
I don't know. It's not clear.
If he's either one, I mean, because they both take, and the bottom line is they both take money from the private sector. They don't take money from taxpayers. And that's the problem with public sector unions. We talked about this. Management in the public sector are us, the taxpayers, and we are supposed to be a democracy. We can choose what we want. We just chose a man who ran on the notion of cutting back government dramatically, and now they're trying to stop him by any means necessary. They, God knows whether they were involved in some of the methods that were used over the summer, but the point is, right now, They're using lawfare again to try to stop the president from doing something. They're trying to stop Elon Musk, even though he's a senior advisor, because they say, well, he hasn't been confirmed. Well, one, he doesn't have to be confirmed.
No.
Second, think of our last presidency. The senior advisors were the ones who were essentially running that presidency, and they're objecting to Elon Musk.
Right.
And the idea that he's the president is second fiddle to Elon Musk is laughable, frankly.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And, you know, the idea that these employees are so affronted that their boss, which is essentially the American people who pay their paychecks, would just like to know, you know, what job are you doing? Are you showing up for work? 6% showing up, and they don't seem to be pouring back into the office. So we'll see where that goes. David, thank you very much. We'll see you coming up on Kudlow.
All
Great
right,
to see
thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you.